macro, it looks like we are now in correction mode here. Look at QQQ. You got to worry about, well, did we get to this gap fill up here? Let's see where that is. 506.41. We're below that level. So now you got to worry about this level right here, which by the time it gets there, maybe it might coincide with 20 DMA. SPY looks very similar. So SPY and QQQ basically mirroring each other with those levels to look at. And IWM, below this level right here, very important, 232, could make it back to that 227 breakout or so, 228 breakout or so. Trump coming in and really doing, again, kind of what was expected, saying he's not going to do that EV credit, $7,500 EV credit. People who understand the politics of this knew that that was going to happen, okay? This is not really a surprise, and I don't think any of the bulls, including Dan Ives, and there's some other commentary out there saying this was kind of expected, and it doesn't change our thinking. It doesn't change my thinking in terms of new all-time highs, because guess what? Full self-drive, FSD, when that happens, the benefit of that is going to way overcome. We're talking about like 95% profit margins. I don't know what they're going to charge, $100 a month, maybe more. I'm not sure. But, getting that approved from a regulatory perspective is going to be a boon for Tesla, not to mention all their other projects and the robo-taxi and things like that. Guys, listen, I'm getting validation on social media. From the likes of Dan Ives, Jim Cramer, who is not a good indicator, but when you have Dan Ives and Jim Cramer agreeing, basically saying everything I was saying in the morning show, we're talking about $926 billion company. Dan Ives is like, this is a $1.5 billion company. Automation is going to be fast-tracked. In terms of federal regulations and stuff. Take a look at this. I'm looking at, let's pull back to the weekly chart. If you go to the daily, you're like, oh, it's so scary. You got a gap here. Oh my God. Right. Okay. Well, you can look, first of all, even on the daily, we're so close to that 299. It's going to test it soon. And then right after that, this is the magnet right there at 314.67. So your target's 300 to 314, 300 to 315, let's call it. But if you don't want to be scared of the gap, pull up a weekly chart, okay? When you put up a weekly chart, just look at this and think about how important this catalyst is. This is an inflection catalyst. This means this is a catalyst when 5 years from now, you look back at the stock and you look at the chart, you can identify a point in time, right? How important is it that Trump is elected and Elon Musk is at his side and basically put him in office, right? How important is that to the company? Obviously, it's hugely important. How big should that candle be? How big should that inflection be when you look back in this chart in time from the future, right? And when you look at the weekly chart, hey, we haven't even gotten started. This 15% move is nothing. It's a blip. You haven't even missed it yet. So when can we see this like really peak out? Or I don't want to say peak out, but when is this thing going to capitulate to the upside, at least temporarily? Guess when that's going to be? I think it's pretty clear. January 20th. There's going to be a lot of hype building into that. Most of the run's probably going to happen well before that. November, December. Maybe you see this thing have that capitulation high, towards Inauguration Day, right after Inauguration. Everything's going to be baked in by then. So again, look at these weekly candles. How big should these weekly candles be to represent this monumental thing that's really going to impact fundamentals for Tesla? I mean, look, this 299 to 315, that's like very short term. That could be tomorrow, okay? Tomorrow or Friday or Monday, might very well be tomorrow, 300 to 315. If you want to talk about a game-changing inflection for the company, you got to think this thing has got to be maybe somewhere between 380 and the all-time high by Inauguration Day. All right, or at least 360 to 415 by Inauguration Day. That's my target. This is the opportunity. That's the analysis.
ASTS is something we started picking up yesterday. I'm going to make this a top pick. Don't know yet if it's going to be number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll see. But ASTS, when you have this is just a whole bunch of pillars coming together. What's a pillar? It's story trading. We have catalyst, sentiment, fundamentals, and technicals, right? We have a lot of things converging on ASTS today specifically, which I think makes us a good thing. This sell-off here was because of the Trump win, because people thinking, all right, that benefits Starlink, and that's not going to be good for the competitor ASTS. Now that we're getting this correction in the Trump names, now the names that were hurt because of the Trump trades can come back. All right. So that's like money flow sentiment kind of reversing with earnings Thursday afternoon. We talked about the fundamentals. I believe if it wasn't on the public show, it was in our Discord yesterday. So I'm looking for continuation after this open green candle yesterday. RSI still oversold here on the daily. So let's see. There's I don't know how far we can get today, but I think before the earnings report, there's a chance we get to like 27, maybe even up to 29. Before Thursday afternoon. That's in the cards. ASTS, definitely a top pick today with this kind of Trump trade reversal, a little bit of reversion to the mean going to be happening today, it looks like. I ended up swinging in the entire call position I got in multiple accounts. You see we're up here, up 6%. Sometimes you got to know when to swing something on one of our top picks. So I did swing. We got ASTS still, I think even with a gap here of 7%, I'm still looking for a move to 27 to 29 before earnings tomorrow afternoon. Amazon, okay, Elon, I mean, Jeff Bezos has been selling everything he could at $200. We got some call options overnight, $200 strike for this week. And my thinking was on a Trump victory, we can break 200 because, I don't know if I mentioned this on the show yesterday or in our Discord. I think it was on the show. Jeff Bezos did something that took some guts. He went against everybody in his organization to prevent the Washington Post from endorsing Kamala Harris. Okay, that happened last week. And there was like a mutiny at the Washington Post, and people were really pissed at him. So he took a stand, and I'm sure Donald Trump took note of that. The question is that the market take note of that enough to say Amazon's a Trump stock, just like Tesla will benefit because of his support for Trump. Will Amazon benefit because of what Jeff Bezos did for Trump in the past week? That was the thesis for why we got some Amazon calls yesterday. And it's really underperforming today, up 0.45%. If we look at the QQQ and SPY, up 2%. Look, I got to throw Amazon in the top 5. I got to say, now we have all the ingredients finally. We don't know. It's a black hole. We don't know for sure how many shares is Jeff Bezos selling at 200. So it's definitely risky to do this. But if there's ever going to be a day where there's enough buy volume to overcome a big seller, I would say maybe today's that day. So let's throw Amazon in the top 5 for a break of 200 for a second. But it's not just about the supply. It's also about the demand. So even if you want to imagine whatever the max quantity is that you think Jeff Bezos is selling out there, if there's any day where the demand can overtake the supply, today's a good day to do that. All right. That's basically what I'm saying. And has already sold many shares. It's not like he just started. He's been selling for a long time. So I would guess it's closer to the end than the beginning. But again, it's a black hole what the supply is, but also today the demand is going to be crazy. Let's take out that $200 Jeff Bezos wall today. DJT, we're gonna want to avoid that, but we're in this yesterday. Also, I got some call options in DJT. I'm going to be selling at the open. And there's DJT, which I have to sell it at the open. You never know. It could short squeeze to $100 today. It could do some crazy shit, but all these stocks have good fundamentals behind them. At least they have some.
DJT has none.
DJT has none. In fact, they reported earnings last night, $1 million revenue per quarter. And that thing has a market cap of
You
like
gotta
$10
laugh at that one, Ben.
billion.
Guys, listen, I'm getting validation on social media. From the likes of Dan Ives, Jim Cramer, who is not a good indicator, but when you have Dan Ives and Jim Cramer agreeing, basically saying everything I was saying in the morning show, we're talking about $926 billion company. Dan Ives is like, this is a $1.5 billion company. Automation is going to be fast-tracked in terms of federal regulations and stuff. Take a look at this. I'm looking at, let's pull back to the weekly chart. If you go to the daily, you're like, oh, it's so scary. You got a gap here. Oh my God. Right. Okay. Well, you can look, first of all, even on the daily, we're so close to that 299. It's going to test it soon. And then right after that, this is the magnet right there at 314.67. So your target's 300 to 314, 300 to 315, let's call it. But if you don't want to be scared of the gap, pull up a weekly chart. Okay. When you put up a weekly chart, just look at this and think about how important this catalyst is. This is an inflection catalyst. This means this is a catalyst when 5 years from now, you look back at the stock and you look at the chart, you can identify a point in time, right? How important is it that Trump is elected and Elon Musk is at his side and basically put him in office, right? How important is that to the company? Obviously, it's hugely important. How big should that candle be? How big should that inflection be when you look back in this chart in time from the future, right? And when you look at the weekly chart, hey, we haven't even gotten started. This 15% move is nothing. It's a blip. You haven't even missed it yet. So when can we see this like really peak out? Or I don't want to say peak out, but when is this thing going to capitulate to the upside, at least temporarily? Guess when that's going to be? I think it's pretty clear. January 20th. There's going to be a lot of hype building into that. Most of the run's probably going to happen well before that. November, December. Maybe you see this thing have that capitulation high, towards Inauguration Day, right after Inauguration. Everything's going to be baked in by then. So again, look at these weekly candles. How big should these weekly candles be to represent this monumental thing that's really going to impact fundamentals for Tesla? I mean, look, this 299 to 315, that's like very short term. That could be tomorrow, okay? Tomorrow or Friday or Monday, might very well be tomorrow, 300 to 315. If you want to talk about a game-changing inflection for the company, you got to think this thing has got to be maybe somewhere between 380 and the all-time high by Inauguration Day, all right? Or at least 360 to 415 by Inauguration Day. That's my target. This is the opportunity. That's the analysis.
ASTS is something we started picking up yesterday. I'm going to make this a top pick. Don't know yet if it's going to be number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll see. But ASTS, when you have this is just a whole bunch of pillars coming together. What's a pillar? It's story trading. We have catalyst, sentiment, fundamentals, and technicals, right? We have a lot of things converging on ASTS today specifically, which I think makes this a good one. This sell-off here was because of the Trump win, because people thinking, all right, that benefits Starlink, and that's not going to be good for the competitor ASTS. Now that we're getting this correction in the Trump names, now the names that were hurt because of the Trump trades can come back. All right. So that's like money flow sentiment kind of reversing with earnings Thursday afternoon. We talked about the fundamentals. I believe it wasn't on the public show. It was in our Discord yesterday. So I'm looking for continuation after this open green candle yesterday. RSI still oversold here on the daily. So let's see. There's I don't know how far we can get today, but I think before the earnings report, there's a chance we get to like 27, maybe even up to 29. Before Thursday afternoon. That's in the cards. ASTS, definitely a top pick today with this kind of Trump trade reversal, a little bit of reversion to the mean going to be happening today, it looks like. I ended up swinging in the entire call position I got in multiple accounts You see we're up here, up 6%. Sometimes you got to know when to swing something on one of our top picks. So I did swing. We got ASTS still. I think even with the gap here of 7%, I'm still looking for a move to 27 to 29 before earnings tomorrow afternoon. Look at the macro. It looks like we are now in correction mode here. Look at QQQ. You got to worry about, well, did we get to this gap fill up here? Let's see where that is. 506.41. We're below that level. So now you got to worry about this level right here, which by the time it gets there, maybe it might coincide with 20 DMA. SPY looks very similar. So SPY and QQQ basically mirroring each other with those levels to look at. And IWM, below this level right here, very important, 232, could make it back to that 227 breakout or so, 228 breakout or so. Trump coming in and really doing, again, kind of what was expected, saying he's not going to do that EV credit, $7,500 EV credit. People who understand the politics of this knew that that was going to happen, okay? This is not really a surprise, and I don't think any of the bulls, including Dan Ives, and there's some other commentary out there saying this was kind of expected, and it doesn't change our thinking. It doesn't change my thinking in terms of new all-time highs, because guess what? Full self-drive, FSD, when that happens, the benefit of that is going to way overcome. We're talking about like 95% profit margins. I don't know what they're going to charge, $100 a month, maybe more. I'm not sure. But, getting that approved from a regulatory perspective is going to be a boon for Tesla, not to mention all their other projects and the robo-taxi and things like that. Daily, weekly, now you can see what I'm talking about there. So it's been a while, but the fact that that whole sector was exploding before this move tells me there's a lot more to come in Bitcoin. The big whales know something about the money flow, and that money flow is going to be coming in Bitcoin. So I think finally, we're going to break out above the 66,525 here, and then make a move to the all-time highs on Bitcoin. So that is definitely in play. It's hard to say for today because you're buying this gap up. But as far as a swing position, I think if you're not in it, you're light in it. I think it's a good time to increase the position in Bitcoin. Something real seems to be happening there. Good morning. It's Tuesday, November 19th. Markets are pulling back with escalation of war fears in Russia and Ukraine. Not even war fears, war, right? Yep. Biden administration okaying the use of long-range missiles from Ukraine into Russia. They did that. They fired into Russia. Russia comes back and says, we've changed our nuclear doctrine and we can use nuclear war if someone attacks our territory. So look at this. Man, did I have an incredible call? I just misplayed it. Friday, I put a thesis out on TLT, that the TLT bottom is in Friday. That was mostly around Dodge. Obviously, I couldn't predict war, right? That was around the Department of Government Efficiency and how our deficits can come down, and that'll be good for the bond market. So that was the bottom. I misplayed it. I got some TLT calls into the weekend, but I just didn't. I got out at the wrong time yesterday. Let's put it that way. Then gold. Look at this one. Also, Friday, right here, right at this bottom 20-week moving average, I put out a note in our Discord that, man, these technicals look really good, but I don't have a catalyst. I was like, and it's story trading. We need a catalyst, but sometimes you just got to go with technicals, I guess, because I put this out there, and I know there's one particular trader who loves to trade gold in our community. And I'm like, this is the time to get gold. If you're just looking at technicals, I don't have a catalyst, but those are great technicals here to rebound off of at the 20-week moving average. And look at that. That was at about 236 or at 243 now. Man, I was looking at some call options on Friday on gold, and I just decided not to go for them. They're probably up about 500% by now. So we'll go through the top list. Is it too late? Is it too late for gold? Is it too late for TLT? Well, look at this. GLD, I think at this point, what's the gap here? 242.73. You're above that. What's the next level? 245.14. What's the bottom of this candle? 245. So 245. I think you're making your way over to 245 on GLD. It might not be too late, but sometimes I guess you just got to act on that technical bounce there, or the technical level without the catalyst. We would have been rolling in the dough. But 235, I'm sorry, 245. I'm going to throw this into our top list. Okay, let's go. Add watch list, top. All right. Now, TLT bouncing. Is it because of my thesis Friday about reducing deficits because of the Department of Government Efficiency? Or is this a rotation into safety because of war? I'm not sure what's driving it. It looks like when people look at this, TLT and gold both up 1%. It looks like a war hedge play. 20 DMA up here at 91.40. I don't know. I kind of like the gold chart better if you want to play one of these war hedges. Okay, let's go on over to our ER list. Oh, NVIDIA coming up. Is that tomorrow, Rhett, NVIDIA? I think tomorrow close or Thursday. I think
the 20th. So that's tomorrow. Yep.
I think it's after the close tomorrow. So NVIDIA after the close tomorrow. Walmart, they beat guidance by 2%. To do there. Symbiote, I'm not familiar with this company, but someone in our community told us, I think Godfather told us about this one last night. SYM, they had an earnings beat. Didn't look like it was in the magnitude of 27% to justify this. Maybe there's some other reasons why it's justified, but we're not going to be taking any action on Walmart or Symbiotic. NVIDIA, though, does drive a couple of our top picks possibly today. So let's talk about that. Okay, let's not move over on to our top picks. Now, I was initially prepared to talk about Bitcoin here and how impressive it was that Bitcoin was bucking the trend, the war fears this morning. And now I guess I got to cancel that. All right, we were moving up here while, Wall Street was worried about war. Bitcoin usually doesn't do well in times of war. Okay, it's supposed to. That's one of the characteristics of Bitcoin that the bulls want it to be. They want it to be a geopolitical hedge, a doomsday hedge, and it never acts like that. It acts like a risk asset. When I was looking at that this morning, I'm like, oh, has Bitcoin finally grown up? Is it because we're now at 90,000? Is it because now the Trump administration's in that now Bitcoin will finally behave like gold and TLT, like a hedge and geopolitical hedge? So I was excited about that and wanted to talk about maybe Mara will get a bounce here. Also, we got Coin and Hood. We got lots of things that, good catalysts going on underneath, independent of just this Bitcoin rise. But lo and behold, maybe that's not happening. But it's still worth talking about. Let me just tell you about this Mara. I don't know Mara well. I do know they did a convertible offering here, and this drop here was totally manufactured. The price of which the shares convert was based on the average price between 2 and 4 p.m. yesterday. So they were reporting the heck out of this yesterday for the 2018 to get the best price on this convert. So there might be a bounce play here. And Mara, I don't have enough conviction in it. I scalped a little bit this morning, but I'm out.
Hey, Ben, sorry to cut you short. Your mic is cutting out a little bit.
Okay, you know what?
Yep, there you go. It's all good now.
Okay, if it continues to give problems, I'll have to switch to another mic. Let me know. Okay. In any case, yeah, Mara, just wanted to let you know of that potential catalyst. But now all of a sudden, Bitcoin not acting not acting like that geopolitical hedge. However, underneath Bitcoin, let's just look at our crypto list because I want to talk about RK for a second. We have Hood, which has been absolutely killing it. We have Coin, and the Trump is meeting with a CEO of Coin. Both of these are in the RK ETF. Okay. Also in the RK ETF is Square. All right, which also has some association a little bit with crypto. And of course, on the RCAT ETF, we have Tesla, which honestly is my number one pick right now. It was TSSI. We dropped coverage of TSSI immediately after that earnings report. We made a ton of money, but TSSI out. Tesla is now my number one pick, and I've been trying to get to a place where it's going to be my largest allocation. It's not yet because RCAT, as of this moment, is my largest allocation. We'll talk about that in just a second. But between Tesla, Square, the strength in Bitcoin we've seen with Coin and Hood, that continues to make me very bullish on RK. The tough morning this morning, but I'm going to say last night on the Wolf Financial Spaces competition, 2 weeks in a row, I've doubled down on RK. Timing it might be a little bit tough, but the target here on RK is going to be 58.38 to 63.53. Maybe today is a good day to pick some up, but if you're doing it with options, give yourself at least a few weeks, okay? Because I don't know how long this war situation is going to drag markets down. We don't know what's going to happen with NVIDIA earnings tomorrow, and those two are going to determine the direction of the market in the next couple of weeks. So we might need to consolidate a little bit more in RK until we get to those targets. So who knows? It could be a few weeks off till we get those targets of 58 to 63. But the components of RK are just brilliant right now. I mean, it's, again, Tesla, Coin, Hood, Palantir, Square, which is Block. I mean, it's just amazing. Finally, Cathie Wood's ETF getting some love. And I think it's 2025 is going to be the year for RK to shine. Okay, so there's that. This is all just kind of more swing analysis and geopolitical analysis. Out of these, I don't have a top pick for you yet today, but I do have some. I have at least 3 top picks for you, so stay tuned. Here we go. All right, SMCI. Last night, boy, did we ever nail this. Last night in our Discord, we gave the alert at $25 on the news that they got a new auditor, and they are going to have a plan to keep their compliance with, I guess it's NASDAQ, whatever exchange they're in. So we jumped on that immediately at $25, gave you a 28 to 30 price target last night. We exited last night at in that range, $28 to $30. This morning, we scalped it a little bit, gave you an entry at 26, exit at 27. Let's look at this. Also, we have, it may not be over, so let's look at the technicals here. First of all, to me, this is not a green. I've been saying stay away from SMCI with a 10-foot pole. We bailed at like $80, and we've never yet got back in as a long-term investment. And we're talking about a SMCI bounce. By the way, those comments, you can put those comments in if you're a Discord member. Otherwise, you're seeing this on X. And I think there's a chat in X, in the X stream. All right, somewhere in there's a chat bubble. And I think if you chat in there, I think we'll see it in our studio. So if you want, you can try that. Okay. But anyway, SMCI, I don't think this is an inflection for a long-term investment. This is a trade for us right now. So in at 25, target 28 to 30. We achieved that, scalped it this morning, 26 to 27. But this is an important catalyst because a lot of this drop was people who were worried about the delisting, all right? And that delisting is now at least temporarily off the table, new auditor. So from that kind of mechanical perspective, that's the selling that caused the mechanics of, again, you might not be listed. So now there's additional sellers because of those mechanics, not really about the long-term investment thesis. So that's got to be turned on its head rather quickly. All right. So that's why this was a good catalyst. But from an investment perspective, nothing's changed in terms of all the business that Dell's been taken away from SMCI. All right. That has to do with their service and their product. So it is not a long-term investment yet. However, this could be an explosive short squeeze here, at least for a trade. All right. Days to cover has got to be much more than this. I don't know if this is updated, but I'm sure the short position has exploded here since October 31st. Let's look at the technicals here. Where do we derive last night those targets from? 28 to 30. Well, 28 was where was the 28? It was a candle. Where am I looking at? Okay, 28 was this one right here. Okay, 28 was right here, was our candle resistance. Okay, and 30 was it was actually 31. We upgraded to 30. Did we hit 31? 31 was a 20 DMA. I think we hit 31 last night as well. So yeah, we got to 30.75 last night. Close, all right, but we exited above 30 last night. So 28 to 31 is your resistance. But if it breaks 31 right there, especially with some people might get excited about NVIDIA tomorrow. So if we break 31, you can also see it's a key level right here. It's at the top of this candle, 30.89 plus the 20 DMA. If you break that, this could potentially make a move to this range, the top of this candle and the 50 DMA up there. So this is huge. That would be 38 to 39, or let's say the bottom of this candle, 30, let's call it 37 to 39, all right? So if you break 31, you could squeeze to 37 to 39. I don't have a position right now. We had two successful trades, one really good one last night and one little scalp this morning, but I will be looking at this. I might get back before the open. I think I might take a small position. I think I might do that because, again, it's a strong catalyst, and then there's a sentiment of NVIDIA earnings might give SMCI a bump. But really, NVIDIA and their earnings are much better for Dell. All right, we added Dell as a top pick yesterday. Yesterday, it did well, although it didn't end up being an open green candle, but we got it in pre-market. So I added Dell to my long-term account yesterday. Lots of great catalysts for Dell. I think Dell might be the sneaky way to play NVIDIA. If you're looking at NVIDIA, you're looking at the call options, you think NVIDIA is too expensive, take a look at Dell. Dell might do very well on NVIDIA earnings. They might even be talking about Dell on the conference call. Something to consider there. All right. Now, moving on to a couple stocks that I think could be top picks for today. RCAT. RCAT 505 by 510. Today, after the close, they have a big press event. It is, along with other data we put together, helped out, especially by Fluffs in our Discord community, put the mosaic together. It is widely anticipated that after the close today, they will announce a big contract with the U.S. Army. Okay. Now, there's always a risk. We don't know exactly what's going to be announced after 4:30 p.m., but the anticipation is enough, that widely believed anticipation is enough to get a event anticipation run today. By the way, this moves also with defense stocks. It has in the past. So take a look at here. Oh my gosh, when I looked at these, they're only up less than 1%. Now they've doubled. Lockheed Martin, RTX, Northrop Grumman, up 2%. Okay, so you have an additional tailwind in RCAT as a defense stock, plus this event after the close. Yesterday, on that anticipation, we hit 562. I think this is a really good bet. I find it hard to believe that this stock is not going to run relatively hard, especially in the second half of the day, as people position themselves to be some binary risk with this announcement. You don't know exactly what's going to be announced, but given the situation, I think this is a good bet. I bought some in pre-market, some trading shares on top of my core shares, because I'm anticipating a move even beyond this 510 ask here right now. All right. Another stock, this came from a Discord community, ACRS. I think Ali alerted us to this. I don't know this company really at all, okay? But they had some strong catalysts yesterday morning, acquiring 2 new products or patents for products. And then we have this big volume started coming in when an analyst came out, forget which one, but a reputable analyst came out and gave it like a $10 price target, something pretty big, right? If you know the exact number, you can interrupt me. And then this morning, there were several other analyst upgrades, a lot of them. Here's Learnick Partners at 7. Here's Jeffries raised to buy at 7. Here's Learnick, Jeffries. Who else do we got? Learnick and Jeffries is repeated like 3 times each. All right. We got BTIG, neutral to buy, $8 price target. All right. All over the place here. Piper Sandler, overweight from neutral, $13 price target. Wow, that must be the one that triggered this move here yesterday. So 380 by 382. I have a trade position in this. If you look at the technicals, by the way, if you look at the tape here and level 2, there's been very heavy blocks, large blocks. Most everything on the bid side since yesterday afternoon have been very, very large blocks. And the sizes on the ask have been much smaller. Could be a sign that institutions are buying this. Makes sense with all those upgrades. Target here for you at this gap fill about $4.30. That's your first target. But you see after that, maybe $5.70 right up here. So in this range, this is the candle area we want to get to. And $4.30 to $5.70. I think after looking at all those upgrades, I think the first thing I'm going to do after I get off this show is buy a little bit more ACRS. Let me throw this up to the top. Okay, ACRS. All right, couple other items here we want to look at. PBI this morning, press release, they've paid off $100 million of debt. That's good enough for me. You know, I followed this company. I like their ERs. They are doing a tremendous job flipping a profitability and paying off debt. It's not loved because their top line revenue is not growing so much. This is a value side. I think it's probably trading below a 10 PE now. All right, let's see. Forward PE ratio forecast. I don't think that's accurate. This 20, if you annualize what they just did, I think they're probably under a 10 PE or close to a 10 PE now and rapidly paying off that debt. So $7.30. I grabbed that this morning. It's still the ask right now. So here's three that I think deserve to be in the top five. RCAT, ACRS, PBI. But let's go down. I think I want to talk about some other things before we wrap up the top five. ACHR got a nice upgrade this morning, or initiation. We've been in this, the eVTOL plays, ACHR and Joby, because Trump, a week before the election, went out there and said, we got to be leaders. America's got to be leaders in EV, electric vehicle takeoff and landing. And he said, Asia's kind of ahead of us. We have to catch up. So could be incentives and support from the administration for eVTOLs. And this morning, we have an analyst coming in. Needham initiates with an $11 price target. Needham at $11. It's a tough day, though, with the market. You can see here it's not really reacting in pre-market. I'm going to throw that at the top to keep an eye on it. Maybe this is something you got to swing, all right? Maybe not for it today because I don't like the pre-market action, what's going on the macro level, but maybe ACHR, something you got to swing. That's a nice price target from Needham. All right. So let's go down here. We talked about Tesla. Oh, Square. I love this first swing. Thank you, Rhett. You brought this to our community. You've been killing it on Square options. Oh my gosh.
Four times I've traded it now, making over 50 to 200% each time.
Unbelievable. You brought
also, Ben, I got to get going real quick because I'm going to be late to school if I don't leave right now. So I got to log off here.
All right. We'll see you. Thanks for.
All right. Sounds good. Have a good one. Good luck, everyone. Have a great day.
All right. Take care, Rhett. All right. We're going to finish up here. So Square, 1, 2, 3. This is like a quadruple top it's breaking out of, or a triple top. 1, 2. It's like a triple top it's breaking out of. I've had a swing target on this of 110 since Rhett brought this to our attention a few days ago. And we're sticking even more than a few days. Man, he was all over this early. But yeah, $110 swing target. May take a few weeks to play out. Okay, so that's looking good as far as the swing goes. All right, do want to keep our eye on SMCI for possible trades, as I talked about. We'll throw that up to the top. We also have DXYZ, completely overvalued, obviously. But Starlink, SpaceX is launching today, the Starship. Again, I think, is it the second flight or the third flight? I'm not sure. But they got a flight today, and Donald Trump is going to be there. So a lot of media coverage over this launch. So overvalued can get more overvalued. So in this one, very small size because of how overvalued it is. But this may have a little bit of an event anticipation run throughout the day into that launch of Starship. Okay. So let me just look down here. Do want to mention, well, this DJT and getting into crypto. This is on our watch list. I swung it a little bit overnight, which is not working right now. But DGT, rumored to be trying to buy BKKT to get into crypto. Obviously, DJT, very expensive. But could this be one of the first significant moves the company makes that opens their pathway into real revenue and into maybe a position to start saying, hey, maybe there's a potential of this company to be worth billions of dollars one day. So something to keep your eye on DJT. We'll throw that to the top. And last thing I want to mention is OPFI. Strong day yesterday, but This is one of our strongest picks, thanks to S Mantle, the Godfather in our community. I have a big position, as S Mantle does, in common shares, options, and warrants. That was a beautiful candle yesterday. But a lot of charts look like this. This, if you go look at RCAT and everything else, a lot of charts look like this. This may need the market to follow through, but we're looking forward to a break of 716 and a move towards 10 plus. All right, but maybe not for today. I'm not gonna, not for today. Definitely not for today, because of the macro situation. All right, moving back over to the top list here. Let me just check out the comments now that. So weird how often this happens. Is something is at a crazy technical spot, and then a catalyst comes in and wow, that is so true. That is so true. Wow, it's almost as if like the powers that be are watching the technical levels, and you're like, this is a great place for us to get in here and defend this level. So let's go out there and put a media story out in the ether that supports our purchase here at this technical level. That's an interesting point, Yosef, on GLD. So I think next time, that was such a strong signal, but we missed that. Would have been a great hedge. Okay. Anyway, thank you, Yosef, for that comment. Very astute comment. All right, let's head on over back to the top of the list here and see what we got going for today. DXYZ, DJT, SMCI, these are not top picks. These are kind of speculative things to keep your eye on. All right. So I'm not going to have these in the top 5. However, what I will have in the top 5 definitely is going to be ACRS. All right. RCAT will definitely be in the top 5. Let's throw that up there. I'm doing this. I'm taking PBI in the top 5. All right. Because it's also been down so much. This is a beautiful entry. Look at this. This is just perfect. So 730. Love that. So PBI, RCAT, ACRS in the top 5. All right. Speculative ones we're watching: DJT, DXYZ, SMCI. I'll put SMCI up here because this could get exciting as if it breaks that 31. All right. I'm going to put gold in the top 5. All right. Maybe it's a little bit of me being pissed off at myself and revenge trading because I called out that great level and I want to benefit somehow. I'll admit to you that has something to do with it. It's like, I got to make some money from gold because I called the bottom. All right. But the technicals show here that we could make a move to 245. So I'll round that out in the top 5. So now let's try to order these without ret. All right. ACRS, RCAT. You know what? I'm going to go with ACRS because I got to respect the pre-market action here and those large blocks we've been getting and those crazy upgrades from reputable analysts this morning, reputable ones, and this price target. So got to make ACRS number 1. All right. I'm going to make RCAT number 2, PBI number 3, gold number 4. So these are your top picks: ACRS, RCAT, PBI, and gold. All right. Secondary, more speculative list, maybe for scalps: SMCI, DJT, DXYZ. That's it. Those are your top picks. Guys, join us over at our Discord, storytrading.com/Discord, storytrading.com/Discord. We're there all day in our chat room. Sometimes we go on a live stream for live trading. We've been doing that pretty often. We'll see if we'll do that today. But we'll see you there. It's just $2 a day, storytrading.com/Discord. And let me just leave you with a little explainer about what story trading is, what we mean by story trading. Here we go.
It's not easy to understand why stocks go up and down, but even in volatile markets, there's always a discoverable and logical reason behind price action. Story trading is a social investing community of investors who share information to uncover the hidden stories behind the trade through the 4 pillars of fundamentals, catalyst, sentiment, and technicals. All price action can be understood through the lens of these pillars, allowing for a holistic view that empowers better decision-making. Only by understanding markets can you beat them. Join our community today and start making sense of markets.